Ever since I was younger, I was into video games.
Somebody like the fuse so I can bring bad news to all these crews who can't NBA jam with the shoes.
What's going on, guys? Welcome back. Top 18 beers of 2018. I usually slack big time with this video and decided this year I was going to be proactive and get it up and out there so I don't have to worry about it after the new year came. 2018, a little bit of a slower year for me on YouTube beer review wise. I kind of mellowed out on beer reviews for a couple reasons. Burnout was one of them. I think 5 years we've been doing beer reviews on YouTube now. And I talked about it in a couple of the reviews, but yeah, there's just a little bit of a burnout this year. Life was crazy. I was really busy with the boys this year. They got into some pretty heavy competitive baseball playing, and between coaching and traveling and all that stuff, I didn't have as much time this year for YouTube as I have in the past. So it's a good thing. It's always good to kind of focus on other things in life rather than just drinking beer on YouTube. But 2018 was fun. Had a lot of awesome beers. I'm gonna do this video much like I did last year's video, where instead of keeping you guys for like an hour and talking about every beer that's on this list, I'm just gonna put together just a clip of the 18 beers that stuck out for me this year. Not necessarily the best beers that we drank, but 18 of my favorites. I think that's the fun way to do it. I like doing it that way, so that's what we're doing again. There's some newcomers to this list this year, some breweries that we hadn't had beers from. There's some familiar faces. I did notice when I was putting the list together, this list was pretty heavy on Modern Times, which is awesome for two reasons. One, they're local to me, and I'm enjoying a lot more local beer these days. And two, it means I wasn't trading. I stopped trading beer probably about a year and a half ago. It just got to be too much. I don't have time to chase beer anymore and do any of that stuff. So not trading beer has really allowed me to focus on local beer, shelf beers, more, you know, readily available beers to me, and it's been great. So I really enjoyed that. I was stoked that that Modern Times made the list so many times. It also made me realize I've been a member for their beer club for the last 3 years, and there's so many beers that I get from them that I don't drink. So it was cool actually drinking those beers this year. So that was fun. So yeah, we're still gonna continue doing beer reviews in 2019, so it's not gonna stop. It'll probably be about the pace we were at this year. I think I looked, I only did like, I don't want to say only did, but there was only I think there was like 115 reviews this year, which is like 2 a week. There have been previous years where I was doing 200 plus. It's just nice to not drink as much and just to take breaks from doing beer reviews. So we'll still be around in 2019. I mean, I'm looking forward to drinking some more awesome beers with you guys. As always, I like to thank you guys who hang out on the channel. I have a blast discussing beers, talking with you guys. Just the BS and the back and forth that we talk about just from beer drinking is the best part of beer reviews for me. Obviously drinking amazing beer is cool too, but you guys are what make all of this worth it. So I really appreciate you guys hanging out with me and discussing all the beers that we drink. So yeah, with that being said, without further ado, here are the 18 beers that I was most stoked on in 2018. This beer is amazing. It's a bummer that these are collaborations, because much like a beer like JFK to LAX that I love so much last 2 years ago, like this beer's not going to get brewed again, I don't think. And if it does, it'll be under a different name and we won't know. But whatever you guys did, this was brewed at District 96, I think. Whatever this recipe is, just keep brewing it. Fuck it. Ask Equilibrium, be like, hey, can we just brew this all the time and we'll slap this label? Like, there's this, if you have the means to have these hops all the time, this should be on tap and in cans all the time. This beer is fucking awesome. It's 100. Like, when you have experiences like this with beer, like there's nothing I would change about this beer. The only thing I would change is I would have a case of this in my fridge. It's that good. We're full on fucking hype train. It's, I mean, you want to call it an Equilibrium beer, this is the best Equilibrium beer I've ever had. I mean, I know it's a collaboration. It's 100. But it smells like a big beer. It's like a big, thick pineapple smoothie in your nose. The nose of this is insane. It's like remember when Vince Carter was on the Raptors and he was in his first dunk contest and he made that, I think it was the second dunk, and he would just looked at the camera and was like, it's over. That's kind of how the nose of this is. That's a good beer. That's fucking insane. I remember someone told me one time they didn't like when I said a beer is stupid. This beer is fucking stupid. I'm sorry. And I know you don't like that. I'm sorry that you don't like that. That's my tasting notes. We'll shut the camera off now. This, I mean, if you like Galaxy, this is Galaxy hops. It tastes like concentrated, frozen, canned pineapple juice. The shit that you would take out of the freezer from a store, and like you would open it and it was still frozen, and you'd put it in your little pitcher and then try and add water in it to dissolve it, and then you'd actually drink your juice, because it was like so crazy intense that if you tried to drink that, it would just be too much. That's what this is. That is awesome. Wow. Yeah, I mean, I would never, if someone gave this to me right now, if I was at a bar and this beer got poured into a glass, there's not a chance I would be like, oh, this beer is 6 weeks old. This is fucking still fire. Wow. Who are these guys? Is this like a brewery I should know about? New Park? I've never heard of them. So if anyone from New Park ever watches this review, I'm sorry. I've never heard of you guys. I'm in Southern California. I don't know how I would have ever heard about you guys. But your beer is fucking titties. This beer is so good. Literally like one of the biggest birds I've ever seen. It just flew right past the window in the garage right there. This is crazy that this is a 10% beer. I will just say that. This does not taste anywhere near 10%. It doesn't even drink heavy like it smells. It smells thick and syrupy. It doesn't. Wow, how do they do that? These breweries are turning people into alcoholics, I'm sure. There is a ton of stone fruit, and there's a good amount of like sweet kind of tangerine-y. There's something else in there. There's like this candy note that I can't put my finger on. I don't want to say something stupid that I'm thinking of, so I'll keep that to myself. But there's like this, there's a candy like from my childhood that I'm tasting in this beer. My eye just started itching. That's so good. So good. That's delicious. I don't I don't understand why people don't like Bright. There is an awesome citrus like pithiness. I don't want to say it's like that bitter green dank thing, because I don't think it is. It's more like hop acidity. But you get that fleshy pineapple, overripe pineapple front of the tongue. As it goes across your palate, it transitions into like this awesome juicy, there's a little bit of like bitterness. It's a little bit of like citrus acidity. Think orange rind, grapefruit rind. And then it finishes with more of like that herbal, just hoppy green matter with pineapple juice. This is fucking awesome. That is so crazy. It does. It tastes like a popsicle. It's so awesome. How do you grade something like this? This is unlike any beer I've ever had. We joked about when we were in Reno, like the one beer, it was a tart blonde with raspberries. That tasted more like a Radler I mentioned. This literally tastes like a fucking Capri Sun. It's so awesome. It's 3.5%. Like, you can drink a whole crowler of this and not feel bad about it. Drink it. Cheers. This beer is chewy AF. Oh, this is this is so good. Seriously, this mouthfeel, this is one of the best mouthfeels on a stout from modern times that I've ever had. And the taste follows the nose. It's super fudgy, dark chocolate. The bourbon hits you mid-palate to finish. It's not boozy, but it tells you it's a big beer. But there's just so much like woody, oaky, vanilla, little bit of like dark fruit in there. Maybe like It's not like, it's not, I don't want to say cherries, but like maybe like a raisiny kind of plummy thing. I mean, you guys know I love fudgy stouts. This is super chocolatey. But wow, if there's not Galaxy in this, I don't know what they use to make it taste like that. This is delicious. How could, like, I don't know. I feel like I should have heard more about this beer just by drinking this. This even has a little bit of that chalky kind of Flintstone vitamin-y thing as it's warming up in my hand. This reminds me of like a super overly hopped, like Modern Times hazy beer. Modern Times has that awesome kind of West Coast punch with their hazy IPAs. And if you've had like an awesome hazy beer from them, I think you know what I'm talking about. This reminds me of that. But it just has that even more just, I don't know, there's an awesome just citrus pithiness that like accompanies the pineapple juice. This is fire. I like sweet, chocolatey, fudgy stouts. That's that. I love beers with adjuncts in it. I mean, what this says, a bourbon barrel stout with vanilla beans, marshmallows, and chocolate, it tastes exactly like that. It tastes like marshmallows. It tastes like s'mores. It tastes fucking amazing. So, job well done, my friend. I mean, honestly, this would be like in that 99 to 100 range if I was grading it like on a regular brewery scale. This is unreal. I'm blown away by this. Best homebrew beer I've ever had. And it's not close. So, this is unreal. Whatever you're doing, like just do this and bottle it and sell it. And there's that killer like vanilla thing on the finish of it. Like I said, it was aged in tequila barrels, but I don't get that peaty kind of smoky thing. There might be like a little hint of something just because I know it's tequila barrels. 7.5%, this is a really easy drinking wild ale. This wouldn't kill your stomach. It's not going to kill your palate. This is really, really, really good. I like this a lot. I love the stone fruit aspects of it. It's got, like I said, it's like tart fruit mid palate, but it doesn't have that medicinal like cherry thing that you can get with some kind of, or sometimes you can get with fruited sours. Doesn't do that. I love how dry it finishes. I love that oakiness that's on the finish of that. Just makes you want to keep sipping on it. So these beers are pricey. We've talked about Lost Abbey sours. They're not cheap. Is this worth it for me? Yeah, I mean, I would buy other beer with the money that I'm spending on this. So this is an A beer. Maybe even like a floral thing. It's there, but it's subdued, which makes all of the overripe, pineapple, passion fruity, there's like a mango-y, papaya, all of that is just like crazy amplified because whatever that citrus bitterness, that pithy rind that you're kind of getting on the finish of that, if that was there, it kind of would have like pushed against all that like tropical fruitiness. Since that's kind of like gone away, it is just an overwhelmingly intense like blender full of juice. This beer is insane. Oh my gosh, this smells so, wow. It's been a while since I've had a stout. This smells incredible. It's like chocolate chip pancakes. It's fudgy. It smells breakfasty. I mean, I don't know what do you say pancake batter smells like? It smells like battery. It smells like, it does. It's chocolate chip pancakes with like maple syrup mixed with bourbon. There's this awesome sweetness. It's like almost like when you walk into like a candy shop and you smell like that sugary sweetness. Fuck. Wow, this nose. Man, it smells. I could just sit here and smell this forever. Wow. That beer is sweet AF. Whew. Holy smokes. So it smelled sweet. It had like that kind of, like I said, that confectioner sugar kind of candy, walk into like a C's candy shop kind of a thing. Holy shit, that beer is sweet. Wow. It's still, it totally reminds me of when John and Eric did their Morning Delight Batch 2 review, and John talked about like this Caro River of sugar syrup. That's totally there. Like I talked about it kind of on when me and Nathan reviewed that beer, one of the worst beer reviews of all time. How was like the sweetness just keeps going and going. That totally does that. This beer is super. Up front, it's got a good amount of that fudgy kind of chocolate. It's desserty. And as that chocolate kind of goes across your tongue, it does this cool transition from like this sweet kind of cakey, like fudgy chocolate, and gets into that spiciness with the sweet molasses that kind of gives you that gingerbread kind of cookie thing, and finishes with the rice spice, the bourbon. We smelled like that kind of charred wood, charred oak. That's on the finish of that too. It's woody. There's a little bit of warmth in my chest drinking this, but it's almost 14%, so that's expected. But this isn't something you're gonna labor through. This is, I'll go inside, sit by the fire, decorate the Christmas tree, and be stoked for the rest of the evening. This beer is fantastic. Like, I can't describe what I'm tasting as far as like the nuttiness goes, because it reminds you of like eating, eating a brownie with like whatever fucking peanut, is it peanuts that you put in brownies? Or like if you had a hot fudge sundae and you have ice cream with hot fudge on it and they put peanuts on it, it reminds you of that. This is so good. I think Ghost Hawk's beans was a lot sweeter because of the vanilla, much more desserty. This is way more breakfast in a glass. That roast is so good from the coffee, but it's not overpowering. It doesn't go to like that burnt, like super intense bitter coffee. It's just an awesome amount of roasted coffee and a fuckload of, think like Nutella sandwich. I forgot all about that treehouse mouthfeel. God, it's like creamy. This beer's still so good right now. There is like this sweet, dark, fruity thing there too, which might have been part of the coffee that just kind of mixed into the beer over time. Taste, follows the nose. You get all of that brownie, chocolatey coffee that you're smelling, and as it goes across your tongue, you get this sweet kind of caramely brown sugar, finishes with this like sweet, like dark fruity. What did we drink last night? Was Double Barrel Speedway, and I was talking about like cherry cordial, like chocolate covered cherries. It's almost like that kind of chocolatey dark fruitiness, and then you get the like it's like a faint kind of hoppy bitterness. Might be the coffee bitterness. It just kind of sits on your tongue for a second, and then it's just more chocolate, fudgy, caramely, like brown sugar awesomeness. This beer is fan-freaking-tastic. When I said on the nose, think of like a big chocolatey stout, super chocolate forward on the front of your tongue. That kind of milk chocolate. This beer's, it's not, I don't want to say it's sweet, like, it doesn't remind me of like those really sweet Beatus, like pastry kind of stouts, but this is very desserty. It's decadent. It's got like that kind of chocolate cake chocolate taste to it. Like if you take a bite of chocolate cake, like moist chocolate cake with like chocolate frosting on it, think of those kind of chocolatey flavors. That coconut's still there. It's like kind of back of your tongue to finish. It's only there for a little bit though, because that overwhelmingly like bitter coffee roast just kind of takes over, and that's really all you taste. If you're into coffee beers, you will love this beer. If you like desserty chocolatey stouts, you will love this stout. The mouthfeel on this one, it's not to that Horace level, but it's much more full than the other beers that we've drank recently. I can keep naming them off, the Rasputin, the what the hell else do we drink? Darkness, all those beers. This mouthfeel of this one is velvety. It's that medium plus. It's nice. Mouthfeel of this beer is awesome. It's delicious. Wow, that's really, really good. There's a lot that I'm tasting. I have to try and figure out what this is. So a lot of what you smell carries over to the taste of it. It's like the mouthfeel is awesome. It just kind of coats your teeth, your tongue, everything stays on the side of your mouth. It just hangs out, which is cool. I like that in big ABV stouts. There is a ton of dark fruits. Think of the, like I said, the cherry, plummy, figgy, raisiny. Lots and lots of chocolate, like milk chocolate, decadent kind of desserty milk chocolate. And there's that rum barrel is there on the finish. It almost has like that, what's the rum that's in the, isn't it in a white Malibu rum? It's got that like kind of, I don't want to say tropical because people think IPAs when you talk about tropical, but it's got that kind of you're sitting on an island with some sort of blended drink with an umbrella in it kind of a vibe at the end of it. I love that. Wow. This beer is bitter AF, and I love that. This is like an homage to that West Coast style that I fell in love with. Super bitter, pithy for days. God, this is so like refreshing right now. I want to chug this. So that dank, herbally kind of green note that I was smelling definitely carries over from the front of your tongue as soon as it hits all the way to the finish. It is dank, bitter hops, like start to finish. That pineapple's there, the papaya's there. There's a little bit of like fleshy kind of orange, but it's so pithy, so intensely pithy and bitter. It just digs into your tongue. Does it say the IBUs on here? Not that that matters these days, but no, it just says 8%. I would venture to guess that it's pretty high in IBUs. I don't know. I have no idea what dinner is off the top of my head. But that bitterness digs into your tongue and stays there. On the finish though, there's this killer, sweet, crackery, bready thing that just sort of marries well with all like that intense green. There's even like a floral thing as I've been talking. Florally green, herbally, like just hop pellet, like hop resin. It's crazy. This is so good. So there you have it. Hope you guys enjoyed that. Like I said, might not have been your favorite 18 beers. You might disagree, agree with some of the beers, the breweries. What do you guys think? Did you have any of the beers? If you did, let's talk about them. That's the most fun. We talked about that earlier. So yeah, that's it. Cheers to 2019. This is going to be the last video that I do for 2019, or for 2018, before 2019. So I will wish all of you a very happy and healthy new year now. And I look forward to seeing all you guys in the new year. So yeah, that's it. As always, thank you so much for watching. I'll see you guys very soon.
Ever since I was younger, I was into video games.
Somebody like the Fuse so I can bring bad news to all these crews who can't NBA jam with the shoe.